We're going to continue our theme of using if-then moves and solving equations into lesson 9 right here. And here's what I want you guys to focus on. I want us to focus on writing the equations. I think we're very consumed with just trying to find out what the answer is, which is great. That's what we want to do, is find an answer. But we need the skill of setting up equations when problems don't let us figure out the answer in our head. So again, let's focus on writing these equations. Excuse me. So we're going to start just by looking at similar problems, but different equations, okay? Our solving then still gets into the if-then moves. If these two things are equal, then I can add, subtract, multiply, or divide the same thing to each side, and they'll still be equal. Okay, so let's start with this first one here. It says Heather practices soccer and piano. Each day, she practices piano for 2 hours. After 5 days, she practiced both piano and soccer for a total of 20 hours. Okay, so let's kind of see what's happening here. We have Monday, right? And on Monday, she practiced soccer and piano. And on Tuesday, she practiced soccer and piano. On Wednesday, she practiced soccer and piano. And we're going to keep going. She did this for 5 days, right? So it's gonna, I know my writing's getting sloppy, but I'm going fast here. So if we just said she did her weekdays here. Okay, it doesn't say that, but those are 5 days. Okay, so after 5 days, she practiced both soccer and piano for a total of 20 hours. Okay. Assuming that she practiced soccer for the same amount of time each day, so this was the same. And I'm sorry, I have to go back here. Each day she practices piano for 2 hours. So this P right here, that's a 2. That's not, if we're talking number of hours here, right? She practiced soccer for so many hours, 2 hours piano. Soccer for so many hours, 2 hours piano. Soccer for so many hours, 2 hours piano. Okay? And we're assuming she practiced soccer the same amount each day. How many hours per day? H. Okay, so we want to use this variable H here. I'm not super concerned with that. Okay, but we'll just go with it because it gives us that. So she practiced soccer for how many hours and piano for 2 hours? Plus, right? We're going to put a plus sign here because the number of hours she spent practicing soccer plus the number of hours she spent practicing piano each day. Okay? And I know this is really sloppy, but I want you to see is that every day she practiced soccer for so many hours and piano for 2 hours. She did that for 5 days. Okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So I need to put parentheses around there because I don't write this part down, but I don't just want to do this. Okay, because what is this telling me? This is telling me that if this is hours for soccer, right? She practiced soccer 5 days, however many hours. So we multiply those two. But then we'd just be adding 2 hours for piano. That's not true. We'd add 2 hours for piano 5 times. Okay? You're going to see me right off to the side a lot, guys. And it's not always going to be the same, but I'm trying to clarify what we're doing. Okay? So here it is. Hours practicing soccer plus 2 hours every day for practicing piano. She did that 5 days. 5 times the total number of hours. Okay, so if she practiced 10 hours a day, we'd go 5 times a day. 5 times 10. If she practiced, a total of 3. 1 hour of soccer, 2 hours piano, total of 3, we'd go 5 times 3. That's what that means. She did it for a total of 20 though. So I'm going to set it equal to 20. You see the word total or something like that? That's usually where your equal is going to go. Now, we're going to solve this by starting with our distributive property. Now, we've solved equations like this before using tape diagrams. Now, we're going to simplify and solve. Okay, this is not the only way to do it, but this is the way we're going to do it for now. I'm going to distribute 5 times h and get 5h. Plus sign, put a plus sign here. 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2, that's where the 10 is coming from. All right, so now when we go to solve, remember, we do order of operations backwards. I am solving for h, so I want to get 5h by itself first. So order of operations backwards. Whatever is being added on or subtracted from first, that's what we deal with. Think of this as a positive 10 here, or plus 10, we minus 10, or combine it with a negative 10. Here's that if-then statement. If this side equals this side, then we can subtract 10 from both sides, and it'll still be equal. So now I have 5h. I double check here that they're opposites. That adds 0, doesn't do anything to our problem, so I get rid of it. 20 minus 10 or 20 plus negative 10 is 10. Now at this point you can say 5 times what number equals 10. You can undo this multiplication by dividing. Again, whatever we do to one side, do to the other. 5 divided by 5 is H, 1H, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so what does that mean? Heather, practice, sorry if you can read that. Heather practice soccer 2 hours per day. Sorry, that's really sloppy, but you get the idea. Okay, that's Heather there. Heather practice soccer 2 hours per day. Okay, so now I want to do a similar equation. It's going to seem similar, okay, but we're going to set our equation a little different. That's maybe how I should say it. So, over 5 days, Jake practiced piano for a total of 2 hours. So over 5 days, he practiced piano for 2 hours. He practiced soccer for the same amount of time each day. Okay, he practiced both for 20 hours. How many hours did Jake practice soccer? Okay. Over 5 days, he practiced the piano for a total of 2 hours.
84 days left.
So over 5 days, he practiced piano for a total of 2 hours. So he only practiced the piano 2 hours total over the whole 5 days. Notice this is not saying he practiced 2 hours every day. Total of 2 hours over 5 days. Soccer, though, and that I just totally spelled wrong, I'm sorry. Soccer, okay? He practiced the same amount of time for each day, okay? So over 5 days, so this is the number of hours again, and he, if he practiced 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day, that'd be 1 times 5 because he did it for 5 days. If he practiced it 2 hours a day, it'd be 2 times 5 because there's 5 days. So piano is 2 hours. I'm going to erase that right there. In soccer, he did 5 days times number of hours. So again, if we have our total of 20 hours here, I'm going to say that I'm going to put the 5H first. He practiced soccer 5 days times so many hours plus a total of 2. And that's going to equal our 20 hours. Notice the difference here. In this one up here, we practiced every day. Hours for soccer practice, 2 hours for piano. So he did that 2 hours of practice every day. This time, he just did 2 hours total. One time, 2 hours, or however it breaks up. We're not multiplying that by 5 because he didn't practice 2 hours every day. If you did 2 times 5, you would be saying he practiced 2 hours of piano for 5 days. Every day. Didn't happen. Okay? But now the good news is this is actually a little easier to solve. Because again, I'm solving for 5H. I need to get rid of whatever's being added or subtracted first. So I have this plus 2 here. I undo adding by subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 2 from each side. I'm going to get 5H, that I double check to make sure is 0, equals 20 minus 2, which is 18. Okay? And then I'm going to divide both sides by 5 because I undo multiplication with division. 5 divided by 5 is 1H. Now, there's a couple different ways you can think of this 18/5, right? I can make it into a mixed number. 5 goes into 18 3 times. That's 15. And there's 3/5 left over. So I have 3 3/5 hours. If you did 18 divided by 5, you would get 3.6 hours. Honestly, we could change it to minutes. This 0.6 right here, that's 6/10. I could say 6/10 times how many minutes are an hour? 60. 60 over 1. And that would be 6 times 60 is 360 divided by 10, and we'd get 36. So we could say 3 hours, 36 minutes. That's good skills to know right there, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on working on setting up equations. So I know word problems can be confusing, but when we can transfer them into equations, being careful to write things down if it needs help, if we need to help us out, we can actually solve easier without trying to do so much in our head.